Hello, it is April 5th, and I am finally getting back out to my bees and trying to do a little work with them today. It's been almost a month since I've been in the bees. I've just been too sick to do anything, and basically just coughing my head off for about 6 weeks now. But feeling a little bit better today. And I need to get out and make sure that these bees are doing what they need to be doing. Weather's been a little bit cold. We had a couple of really, really nice days, and I was too sick to do anything. So I was stuck inside. And we're going to have some nice days coming up next week, and hopefully we can get kind of into the swing of spring here. Trees are blooming. Some trees are blooming. Forsythia's blooming. We've had aspen bloom. I've seen a few of the apricot trees are blooming. Hopefully we can keep that going for the next little bit. We've had some cold weather too, so I hope the cold weather hasn't froze everything off yet. But should still have some things blooming, and hopefully these bees are bringing something in. All I'm going to do today though is I'm going to go in and pull the sugar shims off. I'm going to give them a pollen patty, even though they should be bringing in some pollen. I'm not sure it's enough yet. And I'm probably going to give them a gallon of syrup. There's probably almost no nectar coming in right now, so I don't want them to starve out. And I want to kind of spur them on just a little bit and see if we can get them starting to really build up and make some bees. Just looking at the hives, I think we're okay, but I may have lost a couple more just because I couldn't get out and take care of them, and the weather's been too cold to do anything anyway. So, but we'll get into them today in at least this yard, and probably do the other 2 yards on Monday. We'll see how they're doing. All right. Let's get into these bees and see what we've got going here. I can see bees coming and going out of all the entrances here, so I think they're still alive. But we'll just have to do these one at a time and see what's going on here. Like I said, I'm going to pull off this sugar shim right here, and we'll see what they look like. Let's see how much of the sugar they've consumed. Oh, they're up in the sugar, so they must still need sugar. I'm going to try and smoke them down just a little bit and see if I can get them. If we can get them to go down just a little bit. It's not terribly warm out here, but it's not too bad. All right, so since they haven't completely come off that, I'm going to set it down there for a second, and let's see what they've got going on under here. Now I suspect this colony is, and from the looks of it, is probably in these 2 boxes right here. The bottom one's probably empty. I don't know if I want to mess with them too much today, but it's got a little bit of honey in it. Not much. Yeah, the bottom box is pretty well empty, which is exactly what I expect this time of year. Good chance to clean off the bottom board for them. That'll help them out just a little bit. I think what I'm going to do is reverse boxes here with them. Now, normally what I would have done is just take that bottom box away completely for a day or two, take it back to my shop and kind of go through it, make sure that just pull out any comb that's old, but I'm a little late this year, so I think I'm going to just give it back to them. I've got some pollen patty here. I'm going to put the pollen patty right in the middle here. I'm going to lift these frames up so that the pollen patty box can kind of settle down in there. Wouldn't mind taking a quick peek and seeing if I can see any brood. Maybe I'll try from this side. Any brood is probably now down here in this bottom box now. It was the top box. I've moved it to the bottom. I'll leave this middle box where it's at. See if I can finagle this out without... they've got a little bit of honey left here. Having a hard time because they've got so much comb on the side here. There, that should make it better. Let's see if we can see how. There's nothing there. I can see there's no brood on the next one. Let's give him just a little bit of smoke here. Well, I can see eggs and larvae all over down in here. And I've got cat brood on this side. So my queen's been in the box laying, which is exactly what I expect. Just kind of at the front half. This is cat brood with some larvae down in there. Again, more cat brood. Not looking too bad here. But I don't see a ton of pollen in the cells. So what I need to do is, what I want to do is give them some protein so they can continue raising some brood. Now, let's give them a little bit of syrup. Give them some syrup and some pollen, and that'll kind of spur them on a little bit to raise a little more brood. And this box is going to go right back on. That hive looks decent. Put that back on. Put that back on. And one down. This is usually one of my better hives. I would probably say that's looking pretty good. And look, we've got drone brood larvae. Let's see if we can see any mites in there. Yeah, this is drone brood. There. They think it's spring. Yeah, what's the very bottom box like? Full of bees. But from looking at it, looks like it's mostly empty though. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to pull this one out. Set it to the side. Oh yeah, I can see from the bottom there's really not that much going on in there. I'm just going to put these two. Not tons of feed left in those. Right like that. And give them a pollen patty. I'll just scrape that burr comb off just so I can have a place for the pollen patty. Okay, that looks pretty good. Oops. Syrup. I can tell they don't have tons of liquid feed. I'm not seeing any. There's not much honey left in this hive. A little bit of smoke so I don't smash too many. This box goes back on top. And that is all there is to it. And there we go. Hive 2. As you can see, most of these bees have worked their way off the sugar that's sitting here. This has been a smaller hive. Not even touched the sugar. Let's see if these gals are still alive and worth dealing with. Well, I've got about 3 frames of bees. They've got plenty of honey. I can still see honey down in these. And that's about it. That's a pretty small cluster. I'm not sure those gals are even worth saving. I think what I'm going to do though is knock them down to a single box. Ooh, that's interesting. There's still syrup in that. There was still syrup left in that from last year. They sure did not use it. Well, I'm going to give them some fresh. I've got another one of these in the truck. I'm just going to swap it. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take... I don't really have time to mess with these ladies. Those are empty frames. Okay, this is a case where the cluster just isn't big enough to really maintain as much space as they've got. And I'm not sure the cluster is even big enough to even worry about. But for the moment, I'm going to swap a few frames around. We're going to give them a chance. So we're just going to take both these boxes away. There's just like that. Clean off the bottom board a little bit for them. And they've got a little bit of capped brood there. And a little more capped brood. And here's my queen. Capped brood's looks like worker brood, so she's not a drone layer. I've had a couple of those this year. Got a little more capped brood here. She's trying. I've already done those. All right. Now maybe the feeder will fit in there like it's supposed to. Okay, so these gals just aren't big enough to do much. I've got about 3 frames of bees, and not much going. So I'm gonna give them a pollen patty, but only about half. I am gonna give them some syrup, but I'm only gonna fill it about halfway. They don't have that many bees. They just don't need that much. Hopefully that'll be enough to get them kind of going. And I'm pulling off the sugar now because they really won't take it from here on out. They won't. And sugar's not a waste. I will take that sugar, pull out all the sugar I can get out of it, which will be the majority of it, and I'll just make syrup out of it. So it's not lost. Whew. That's a pretty good box of bees. Wonder how far down they go. They go at least that far. There's more in this hive than I thought there would be. Man, it's a nice looking hive. Again, I'm gonna pull the bottom box out and rearrange boxes here. Should we take a quick peek and see if there's any brood in this box? More cap brood, not a great pattern, but sometimes this time of year the pattern isn't really that great. They're kind of working around cells that had pollen and nectar in it, and it may take them a bit to get to show that true pattern. I'm half tempted to give a frame of brood to this little one over here and see if that doesn't boost them a little bit. Frame of this capped brood that's probably about ready to emerge. Let's take another look at this. Well, there's my queen right here. Don't want to give them that frame. I'm going to put her back right now. I'm going to go back to this frame. Now I know where my queen's at. It's got a little bit of cap brood. I think I'm going to give this to this little hive over here. Let's look at this one again. This hive can definitely spare a couple of frames. And what they're going to get in return is a little bit of honey. Now that'll knock these gals back just a little bit, not tons, but just a little bit, and give that other hive a little bit of a boost. That might be all they need to get going. Okay, and I've got protein or pollen sub that I've mixed up myself. I'm going to put that right here on these gals. It's pretty soft. That'll be perfect. Now we can put this back on. Last hive. All right, let's see what these gals have done. Just barely starting on that sugar. That means they didn't really need the sugar. And I'm okay with that. You know, I guess some people would say, well, why'd you put it on if they didn't really need it? And I just look at it as This is, 5 pounds of sugar. It's pretty cheap insurance for them to make sure they've got plenty of food. And I don't know if this is one that doesn't look like it's one I refreshed. So this is probably all the sugar they've had the whole time. So just looking at this, pretty typical for my hives this time of year. I've got bees starting here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 frames of bees right here. I can see honey on these outside frames, so I know they're still got plenty of food. Let's just take a peek and see what we're seeing here. Pulled one frame out, now I've given myself some space here, and I can work one frame at a time. And I can tell that's still honey, both sides. Yes, this has kind of got a purple hue to it. It is a little bit of mold, but it's nothing to worry about. It'll go away and the bees will clean it up. It's really of no concern. And so there's more and more, and I'm not. A little bit of honey and a smattering of bee bread in there, but I'm not seeing any brood at all. Maybe this frame. Oh dear, I'm not seeing any brood. No brood at all. No brood at all. I got a drone cell here and a drone cell here. I've got a couple of drone cells. Either I've got a drone laying worker, or I don't have a queen. No brood whatsoever. Now, I've got a couple of drone cells right here and right here if I've got a queen, she's a drone layer. They've converted this little patch right here into drone cells. I'm gonna search through these frames pretty close and see if I can find her. I can tell down below that I just there's not any bees down below, so again, drone cells is all I'm seeing. So a drone laying worker, or a drone laying queen. I don't think I've got a drone laying worker. I don't see multiple cells or multiple eggs down in the cells. So this is a shakeout. I haven't seen a queen. So this one's a loss. What I'll probably do is take these bees and shake them out in front of that small hive over there, and they will kind of beg their way into that other hive. Oh. It's not what I wanted. We'll see if we can get these 2 small ones going again. If I can come back in another week or 10 days, I can do a little bit of equalizing and kind of rob from the rich and give to the poor and equalize these hives out just a little bit, and then hopefully we still get a good honey crop off of them. Well, that's all there is to show. Not much, just put a little feed on these bees and reverse boxes around a little bit, take out the dead outs and go on from there. But nice enough day. Got through these hives. Hopefully on Monday I'll get through the rest of them. And that's all I can really do at this time, is just kind of check on them, make sure they've got enough food, make sure that they're got enough protein, and make sure they've got plenty of room. Hopefully spring will come and we can get some bees going and some flowers and have some honey coming in. I hope your bees are doing well. Have a great day.